Welcome to Small Business, Big Moves, a news and entertainment talk show from the Michigan Small Business Development Center, with interviews with some of Michigan's brightest companies, the latest news and information on SBDC services, and answers to some of your most pressing business questions. And now, here's your host, SBDC Regional Director, Ed Garner.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of Small Business, Big Moves. I'm your host, Ed Garner with the Michigan Small Business Development Center, and today I'll be talking to two business CEOs regarding some of the big moves they make to take their business to the next level. So I want you to stay tuned and hear all the great things they got to hear, all the secrets that they got to share with you today to help you and your company get to that next height. So today we're going to be broadcasting live on Facebook and YouTube. And if you want to view the last episode of Small Business Big Moves, you can do so on those channels as well. So it's the 3:00 hour, and this is sort of an hour we call the kind of coffee break hour. So I'm hoping you're taking a break right now with your favorite beverage of choice, your water, your coffee, your tea, got your favorite snacks. You're ready to sit back and listen to our great guests and things today, because this is the coffee break hour, the Small Business Big Moves talk show. Now, before we get started, I've got to introduce you to my staff who's going to be with me today. So I want to bring them on one at a time so you'll get a chance to take a peek at them. You'll hear from several of them later, a little bit later in the show. But right now, I want to bring to the stage one of our business growth specialists, Mike Gay, who's going to be working our news desk today. Hey, Mike.
Hello, Ed. How you doing?
Good today. Good. Next up, working our answer desk is going to be another business growth specialist, Kathy Miller. Kathy Miller.
Hi, Ed.
Hey, Kathy, looking good. Okay. Now, helping also with our answer desk and also kind of monitor you in the chat room will be our senior business consultant with us today, Marie Elliott. Hey,
hi, everyone.
Great. And then last but not least, probably the most important person probably in the room, because she's running all the back end stuff for us today, is our own Lady Q, Keyshawn Coyle, which is our program coordinator. Hey, Q. So it's like she's muted because she's handling all controls in the back. So that's our team for today with our SBDC team. You'll hear from several of those in a little later in the program. So this program today wouldn't be made possible, though, without the support of our generous sponsor, which is Consumers Credit Union. And so at this time, I would like to invite from the Consumers Credit Union, Joe Van Brockland. He's the Business Development Manager for Consumers Credit Union, to say a few remarks. And I think he's got a client video he wants to show us. So, Joe?
Thanks, Ed. It's great to be here. Again, my name is Joe Van Brockland, and I'm a commercial lender at Consumers Credit Union. We specialize in providing business owners with some of the best capital and cash management solutions available. We're proud to sponsor Small Business Big Moves talk show, and we're excited to learn about the strategies of Envision Health and Grand Rapids Tech today. When a business owner plans on taking their business to the next level or implementing a new strategy, it's important to have the best business partners to help them succeed. This, of course, includes their business banking relationship. Next up, you will see a short video featuring one of Consumer Credit Union's business members, Nothing Bundt Cakes.
There's a lot of love that goes into these cakes because everything's done by hand. It's old school baking and frosting. This team here that pulls this off and makes this all work is an extension of our family.
This truly is a family business because there's so many days that you will come in here and our kids will be here working at the front, helping us out in the back. They like to jump in just as much as they can.
What we've learned in our lives is that you are going to have such amazing highs and lows. And partners are the one, like family, are going to help you navigate through those. And Consumers Credit Union is one of those partners. I mean, we're this small little bakery and they make us feel like this multi-billion-dollar company. They help us navigate things financially in terms of banking, but outside of the walls of consumers, they help us find amazing partners to help further our business. And for that, we are so grateful.
It's a great business and it's great that we can do this, but to be able to give back has been amazing.
Once again, thank you to our generous sponsor, Consumers Credit Union, for sponsoring our Big Moves, our Small Business Big News talk show today. So thank you, Joe, for doing that for us. Okay, next up, guys, we're going to jump right into the news before we get to our first interview. So we want to give you just a little bit of news. I was talking to Mike Gay, who's going to be running the news desk today. He was telling me about, businesses may be concerned about some recessionary pressures and things that's happening because of climbing interest rates and labor shortages and the like. And so Mike's going to share just a little bit of news for us today to share with you. So I'm going to turn it over to Mike Gay and tell us what you got for us today, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Ed. What I was reading and what I want to share with our audience is a recent survey by the NFIB, the National Foundation of Independent Small Businesses. And really, they surveyed, I think it was a couple of thousand small business owners. They do this every month to basically get a pulse of what the heck is going on within the ecosystem. And Q, if you could pull up the first slide, what they found with this latest one is that their optimism index is at a 48-year low. Small business owners are a little bit pessimistic about what may be down the road here in about 6 months. In fact, more than half of the folks that were polled expect worsening conditions within the next 6 months. About 94%, I'll share a few statistics with you. I am a numbers guy, so I'll apologize in advance. I do like numbers. 94% say that now is not a good time to expand their business. More than half, as Ed mentioned, have unfilled openings, and more than 90% are facing supply chain issues. None of that is new. We've all been dealing with that for more months than we'd like to actually admit. The issue that we're really seeing now that is a little bit new is that 25% of those businesses that were polled are seeing both weaker sales and or weaker profits versus the first quarter of the year. And what has happened is that inflation has become the number one concern, along with the big R, or recession. And as the next graphic shows, you can see that there's just been a huge spike in inflation here, especially over the past several months. The inflation over the past 12 months has been about 9%. That's a 40-year high. In May, though, we saw another spike, and now we're at an annualized rate of 12%. So it doesn't look like inflation is going to slow down anytime soon, despite, the increases in interest rates. And of course, we all know that food and energy prices are significantly higher in terms of their inflationary rates than the overall average of 12%. I think energy prices are pretty much double what they were just about 12 or 18 months ago. So it's a tough environment to do business. The good news on the flip side of that is that there has been quite a bit of pent-up demand from consumers because we were all locked down during the COVID pandemic. The question is, how long is that pent-up demand going to last? We are seeing some waning there. But the other thing that we're seeing is that the Feds are continuing to increase interest rates in the hopes that they're going to bring inflation down and bring us to what they call a soft landing. The problem is there are a couple of issues that we don't control, and they're big issues. One is China's zero COVID policy, which will continue to exacerbate the supply chain issues that we've all been dealing with. And the other one is this nasty war in Ukraine that's going to continue to affect energy prices and possibly other prices until we get things figured out. But hopefully both of those work out over the next few months so that the Fed can, in fact, bring us to a soft landing. Regardless, at this point, the right answer is to prepare one way or another. And what I wanted to share with you at this point was another survey by Inc.com and Cabbage. And again, Q, you can pull up the next graphic. What they are seeing is that while the majority of small business owners believe that a recession is imminent, they're dealing with it, and they're dealing with it pretty well. The first thing that they're doing is they are increasing prices. As of last March, a majority of them raised prices, they say, by an average of 21%. And that's consistent with what I'm seeing with my clients. Interestingly, though, almost half of those anticipate another price increase here before the end of the quarter. So we are seeing significant price increases, and frankly, that's one of the best ways to deal with increased inflation, because we're all experiencing less purchasing power as business owners. So we need to raise our prices to maintain margins. Now, the real interesting point here is that the other thing that Inc. found from their the folks that they surveyed is that the other thing that small businesses are working on is strengthening their brand. And the reason for that is because those small businesses with the greatest competitive advantage, and brand is a huge part of competitive advantage, also have the greatest pricing power. So they kind of work in tandem. If you don't have what we call three uniques, or a real key competitive advantage, or a real strong brand, it's much harder to pass price increases along to your customers. And you can see by this little note that we've got up there, yeah, we're increasing prices, but we're the best, so we can do it. And that's basically how we all want to position ourselves in the marketplace. The third and last thing that Inc. found out that small businesses are doing, and again, the last graphic, please, Q, is they're all learning to think like a CFO. The reality is that every small business owner is the company CFO, whether they want the job or not. And this needs to be true in good times or bad. And the real key here is that we're not talking about just the basic stuff like building a cash reserve or getting your line of credit in order or scrutinizing every expense. But perhaps more importantly, understanding how your financial thinking should permeate every aspect of your business. And that really means putting systems and processes in place to help anticipate and plan for the future, or rather alternative futures. So the idea is have a really deep understanding of your financials, of how your actions impact your financials, and then go through some sensitivity analysis. Understand, if sales go down by 20%, how are you going to respond? If we don't have a recession and sales continue to climb, but costs do as well, how are you going to respond? The idea is to really think to think forward, to think how your actions today will impact your finances in the future. I highly recommend this book by Michael Gerber. He's one of my favorite small business authors. The book is The E-Myth Chief Financial Officer. He also wrote one just called The E-Myth. It's a great book, but I like The E-Myth CFO a little bit better because it really gets into the systems and processes and forward thinking that's needed to take place to really run a business effectively. And with that, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact any of us at the SBDC, or again, read this book, or do both. Back to you, Ed.
Great. Thanks, Mike, for that great information. And hopefully viewers will take that in mind. Once again, if you do want to get in contact with the SBDC, talk to a person like Mike, who's on our growth team specialist. We got another Kathy Miller, once on our growth team as well. These folks are here to help you. We're all here to help you. There'll be information how to contact and get in touch with us to schedule an appointment, confidential appointment with one of these consultants here to discuss some of these things that Mike was talking about today. But great information, Mike. Thanks for sharing today.
Thanks for letting me share.
Great. Okay, and with that, we're going to get into our first interview with our first company. Now, this company is called Envision Health. So it's a little bit misleading because when I read Envision Health, I'm thinking it's something related that they're providing some type of healthcare service, some healthcare provider. But they're a little bit different. What they actually are is an award-winning healthcare marketing and PR firm. So they've took this niche to provide marketing and PR services to the healthcare industry. And they've been very successful doing that. And we want to bring them on today to kind of talk about how they grew this business, what big moves they may have made to get them to the next level. They're now over $1 million and more in sales. And a lot of companies are trying to reach that second stage there. We want to find out, our viewers want to find out how they were able to do that and what type of services and things that they do. So bring it to the stage with me today is going to be the co-founder and president and CEO, Tim Bush. And then with him just for a moment is going to be his other co-founder and COO, and her name is Kelly Smith. So Tim Bush, Kelly Smith, why don't you guys join us? Thanks for joining us today. So how are you doing today?
Great. How are you, Ed?
Doing great. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks for joining us. You got, as a true marketing firm, you got your logo up in the back there. We love that.
That's right.
Could be a marketer without your logo, man. So you're doing the right thing there.
Exactly.
So I was reading up on your company, and the first thing I saw when I went to the website, it says that you described your company as a clinically informed marketing and public relations firm. So what exactly do you mean by that? Clinically informed marketing and PR firm. Tim, we can't hear you. Are you muted? Looks like we're having some technical difficulties. Tim, we can't hear you right now.
Decades learning about healthcare.
Okay, there you go, Tim. Okay, Tim,
Okay.
you got to start over because we couldn't hear a word you said. And I don't read lips, so I'm sorry, I couldn't make it out.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
So let me repeat the question. The question is, you described your company as a clinically informed marketing PR firm. So what exactly do you mean by that?
Yeah, first and foremost, we're a marketing and PR company that's exclusively focused on healthcare. And that's a lot. There's a lot to know about healthcare. And when Kelly and I founded the company, we wanted to focus on the healthcare vertical we'd spent decades learning about. And the clinically informed part, so Kelly's a nurse and has a master's in public health. That's one thing. I've been working in healthcare for 20 plus years myself. But it's more than just understanding what's happening at the point of care at hospitals. We have this broader expertise across the industry, and we've got a great team. It's not just about us, but we've got people you'd find at like a McKinsey or an Accenture, and we have relationships, not just us, but our team at some of the influencers on social media, some of the major, consulting firms like those, and we've got executive peers we can tap into who can weigh into, folks want to pivot, they want to expand into a different vertical, they want to move into a different part of healthcare. What's going to be the most lucrative for them? Let's say they're a startup based in Michigan. Where do you begin? What's your first step? How do you sequence it? And at a more tactical level, we have relationships being exclusively focused on healthcare. There's publications like Modern Healthcare, Becker's. There's a publication called HIS Talk. It's kind of like it's like the water cooler, in healthcare where people, talk about the real stories. So, but we're not just all healthcare. We have to be the best at all of our respective competencies. So we've got amazing digital marketing, public relations, lead generation. Content development is needed. Obviously, what we're doing right now is content, really, and events, research, and marketing analytics. We do all those things. So, and I know, just running a highly effective marketing and PR firm by itself is a challenge. But then layering on top of that, all this unique, specialized healthcare expertise, it's really unique. So it's really about this unique convergence, Ed. It's both the healthcare acumen and the marketing and PR proficiency.
Okay, great. So you said in your website, I think I read somewhere or talked to somebody that said you have the secret handshake of the healthcare industry. So is it because of those relationships that you just mentioned, or is it because of the depth of your staff in that field? You kind of come from a medically related field, so does Kelly as well. So is because of that you guys got the secret handshake? And if so, we want to know it off screen what the handshake is.
Well, you did a good job, Ed. And so the first off, I think we'd say the U.S. healthcare system does not behave like most business verticals, right? And some people would say it doesn't behave at all. I mean, it's from the outside, it's complex, it's multifaceted. From our clients' perspective, the sales cycles are long. They're often selling technology solutions into a hospital system or a health plan. And, unlike in the nationalized healthcare systems like Canada or Israel or Singapore, revenue runs through a complex set of third-party insurers, the employers themselves, and even like government agencies. There's a lot going on. And bringing a new solution into that environment, it takes some unique insights. You got to understand how it all works. And it can take years to like fully wrap your head around all the nuances, all the interdependencies of these different players in the market. And by the way, there's competition, not just domestically, but globally. Folks are coming into the US healthcare market because, what is it? 22% of the US GDP is healthcare. So it's a very hard-fought battle in terms of the market share within this industry. the buyers are highly educated. You know, they're discerning, and the problem is they've been burned before, and so they're questioning the stories they're hearing from these other vendors, and that's some of the value that like Kelly brings, being a nurse in the room, is that credibility. You have to have the clinical story. There's always a clinical buyer on the team, and if you get caught flat-footed, if you get caught not having an answer, not having thought it through, why does this matter for the doctors? Why does this matter for the care managers? If you don't understand that, you're in trouble. Oftentimes you only get one chance. And, you know, so it's a tough industry to sell into. The other problem is they're human beings, and people making these buying decisions make decisions based on their hearts, not just their heads. And again, to someone from the outside, it looks like chaos. Our team has this depth of knowledge and creativity and the creative talent to sort of crack the code. And so that's why we call it a secret handshake, because it is not simple. It's not easy to learn. You can't just be, you know, good at building websites and understand healthcare. It's a whole different ball of wax. And so Envision Health, it truly is a unique resource for businesses that are seeking to expand their presence in the healthcare space.
Mm-hmm. Great. So Tim, how many employees do you have now?
Well, we've got about, I think as of this morning, we have 22. So someone just accepted your job offer. We're very excited. And
You added another one just today? Did you lose one or did you add one?
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, one.
Just
Oh,
added.
you added one. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. We've got about 15 contractors as well. So around, you know, mid 30s right now. So we've been sort of staffing up this year. So a good news story for the state of Michigan.
Okay, so tell the audience, you know, what is your secret for getting good people then, particularly in this special niche market that you got here? How are you finding good people, and more importantly, how you keeping them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's a couple of things. I mean, we do go through all the usual channels. So things like LinkedIn and Indeed, you know, a lot of folks do recruit through those channels. As a result of using those channels, we tend to get a lot of Michigan talent. You know, about 60% of our team is based in the state of Michigan, but we're virtual. We were virtual before virtual was cool with COVID, and people do think it's cool. I mean, a lot of folks, the majority now, if they can work at home, they want to work at home, especially the folks that want to work in our industry. And so we kind of figured that out 5-6 years ago before we, you know, had a gun to our heads and had to figure it out. So we've got good processes. We've got a culture built on, you know, cohesiveness, and we figured out how to create connectivity even when people are virtual. And I mean, the labor market has fundamentally changed. And Kelly and I actually gave a talk through the SBDC about a year ago about recruiting and retaining talent. And you really have to stay in touch with people, what people really want and need. You know, a small percentage of people are actually working in traditional working environments anymore. And mental wellness is more of a need than ever before. And work-life balance is more needed than ever before. So you have to keep it real. You got to like remain humble. And what I knew yesterday is not what I need to know for tomorrow. And understand things are changing. And you just, I think the bottom line is you just can't fake a great culture. You know, the truth is going to come out. And especially with things like Glassdoor and social media, folks are going to find out. You can't pretend. And you kind of, you know, put your money where your mouth is and deliver a great experience for your own employees. We launched a Net Promoter Score survey with our own employees a few months back. And for a company our size, that's pretty aggressive and advanced. But it's necessary. You have to learn what's on folks' minds, and you have to be able to listen and respond to those concerns at a deep level.
Tim, I think that's great advice for some of our viewers, and looks like you were, like I said, ahead of the curve a little bit, particularly on remote work style and lifestyles and stuff. So I think that may get you ahead of the game. So that's one little secret I think I just heard today. I don't know if you wanted that to slip out or not, but you're ahead of the game. The key to that is try to stay ahead of the game and see things coming. So let's talk about, in the time you got remaining, let's talk about your big move then. So this show is called Small Business Big Moves. And so now you're over the $1 million mark in revenues. Your company's been around, I think, since 2014. So you successfully gotten through the pandemic so far. Hopefully the worst is behind us. But tell us what got you there to the level you're at now in your revenues. Was it one a big contract you landed? Was it just gradual, organic? How did that happen? How did you able to increase your revenues over time?
Yeah, we have an interesting story. I mean, we've been doing this since 2014, obviously. When we started out, it was just the two of us, and we were doing consulting, and the limits of our business model were based on how many hours in the day that, Tim and Kelly could work. And transitioning from simply a small boutique consulting firm to a full service agency was pivotal. And with the help of the SBDC, honestly, and I know this is not an infomercial in any way, but we went all in on this idea of working on the business instead of working just for the business. And I would give a call out to, Charlie Penner and Corey, David Beeson, Jim McLean, others who from SBDC, they pulled in. We consciously built a great culture. We've got phenomenal employees. Our clients love the experience we provide to them. And we've done things like with the SBDC, we've defined our core values. We've identified actually the KPIs that matter to drive our business ahead. So we're not driving against some random goals that just frustrate people or grind our people into grist. We actually move our business ahead. We focus on the right things. And a lot of agencies, for example, or consulting firms, services-based organizations, just push their people to work more and more hours, for example, and bill more and more hours. And maybe that's good. Maybe it's not. Maybe it leads to more attrition and folks leaving, and you got to replace those. Cost of replacing an employee, we know is 1/2 to 1 times an annual salary. So it's expensive to lose good people. And we've created some processes and procedures that probably exceed virtually any company our size, no matter what the business category. So I think, again, having that discipline, I would also say hard work and, tenacity. It's all those things. We do have a deep passion for healthcare and marketing and PR. I think that's unique. People like to deal with real, genuine people at the end of the day. And they want to deal with people that genuinely care about their success. And I think a lot of these common threads you're hearing get back to our culture. We've found a way to stay grounded, I think, and our clients and our team know that we really care about them as individuals. And it's not just surface talk. It's actually, we walk it. There's lots of ways to earn an income, I think, is the bottom line. So, why not act with kindness? Why not create a great culture where you enjoy working and you can actually, have fun, and I think that resonates with people. It seems different. It resonates with folks who are like a part of the Great Resignation, and that's kind of what they're looking for. And we've been trying to build this for 8 years, and we're still working at it. We're not perfect yet, but we keep working at it.
Where you certainly are having some success at this point, and so we congratulate you on that. And speaking of the SBDC, since you gave us a plug, I got to ask you now. You were recognized as being one of the SBDC's best small businesses for this year in 2022. You got an award at the Michigan Celebrate Small Business Gala back in May, and so forth. So we did want to ask you, why do you think you were selected as one of the SBDC's best small businesses this year? Why do you think we chose it?
It's a great question, and it was great to meet you at the awards gala as well. And I think we were on a growth pattern anyway prior to 2021. What happened though, actually working with the SBDC's the broader team, we went through what's called the Focus 4 process with David Beeson and Jim McLean and obviously Charlie and Corey, and it required dedicated focus for many months. I mean, like 9 months, right? I mean, it was a while. It takes time. It took persistence. It really helped us to refine our business strategy and take it to the next level. And I think that was a key driver. And as folks look at our business now, it's like we're actually pretty mature in terms of the tech stack, we're in terms of the KPIs we're measuring, in terms of the environment we're creating for our employees. Even the benefits are well advanced beyond a company our size. And I mean, I think that's half of it. I think the other is we've simply done excellent work. I mean, we got a fabulous team. And when you create this culture, the people do come and they do stay. And our team's won 3 awards in the past 4 months. I mean, and that wasn't us. It wasn't the two of us. I mean, we're involved, we're not leading those teams. Like there's someone else who's brilliant, brought those solutions to market and won the awards. And so I think it's hard work, it's great culture, and a fantastic team.
Great. Well, congratulations once again on that awards. Only about 12 people or so get that award every year, and you're one of them. So that's something to be proud of, as well as the other awards that you won as well. So Tim, Kelly, unfortunately, we're out of time. I wish I could keep talking to you guys. You got such a great and wonderful story, but I heard things about company culture in there, taking care of your clients, that and helping to grow it, kind of do what you say you're going to do, stick to your principles and stuff. Those are all good things for companies to take as they're trying to grow their companies to the next level. Some of our viewers may want to get in contact with you later, and if so, we'll provide them with your contact information. But we do thank you for being with us today, and keep up the great work that you're doing.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Ed.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye now. Okay, great. So we're just about at the half-hour mark. I think we're just a little bit past the half-hour mark. So I'm going to tell you what, we're going to take a short break. I think it's about a 2-minute break here, so you can refresh your cups. You can kind of stand up and stretch. Then when we come back, we're going to get to our second interview with a company called Grand Rapids Tech out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. So stay tuned. Don't go away. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
The Michigan SBDC is much part of this story is the dogs and the people that work here. I've had a passion for dogs my whole life, and I knew that this is what I wanted to do when I was about 7 years old. And so in 2013, I started West Michigan Canine and started out of the garage as a sort of a side project. We're a dog training company, and we train anything dogs. So we do service dogs, police dogs, military dogs, people's dogs, just regular people that want regular things. To this day, I get excited when I see the dogs connect to man or woman and be able to complete a task. Like most entrepreneurs, I think I took all the hats and put them on my own head instead of delegating out. And most of that was just at the time not knowing what resources I had, figuring out the logistics and the inner workings of the business were a struggle. I went a few years doing everything on my own, and I started running into speed bumps and obstacles and trying to get things done. I knew what I needed to get done, but I didn't necessarily know how to get them done. So I reached out to SDBC, and from that point forward, my life became very easy. They became just as important part of this company as my employees were in terms of us being able to grow and continue on the path and trajectory we wanted. Shortly after bringing them on and us working together, we put together a business plan and revenue projections. I brought that to the bank, and suddenly the obstacles went away. I was able to streamline financing for a $3 million building, which I wasn't able to touch for over a year. I couldn't get anybody to approve me. The expansion we have is going to be huge. We're going to be moving into a new facility. We're going to be adding 50 employees. It's going to open us up to being one of the largest dog training companies in the United States in terms of quantity of dogs. We've been able to accomplish a lot on our own, but reaching out to SBDC has been the most impactful thing I've done as a business owner in the past 5 years. It's really catapulted us into a whole new level of being able to be successful and opening up options for our business to grow. So thank you to the Michigan SBDC for making my dreams come true.
And welcome back to Small Business Big Moves. I'm your host, Ed Garner. Coming up next, we have another company that's located in Grand Rapids, Michigan, who had very humble beginnings, but now, once again, they're over the $1 million mark in sales and revenue so forth too. So we want to hear from them too as well, how they're able to do that and climb even through the midst of a pandemic. This company is called Grand Rapids Tech, and the president is Justin Ayers. So we want to bring on Justin and welcome him to the show.
Thanks, Ed. How you doing?
Thanks for being with us today, Justin, and being able to willing to tell us a little bit about your company. So, well, let's jump right into it. So tell me a little bit how you got started and kind of how you progressed from where you are today.
Yeah, so started in 2010, just buying used computers from businesses, fixing them up in my apartment at the time. And, yeah, just kept kind of doing that for a year or so, and ended up getting some repeat customers that were buying multiples, and kind of word of mouth started going around, and then we started doing commercial and even some residential computer repair, IT stuff, and kind of sprang up from there. So now that it's 12 and a half years later, we're just we only do commercial IT, and we also do some marketing, web development, and security cameras, access control, stuff like that. So we've kind of let the market direct us, and pivoted when we had to, and so.
Okay, great. So you said we. So when you first started out, was it just you by yourself?
Yeah, it was just me.
Okay, and now you've grown to how many people are working with you now?
There's 8 of us right now. We're actively hiring 2, so in the next couple of weeks there'll be 10 of us, and then we're going to be probably hiring a few more people by the end of the year.
Okay, so you're hiring as well. Are you having problems locating people? You heard about labor shortages from Mike Gay earlier today. Do you think you can experience some labor shortages, or do you think you'll be able to find the people that you need?
I really, we get a lot of applications. The one job was for network and security installation. Posted that, I guess, about 24 hours ago, and we've had 14 applications so far.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll probably we've got some really highly qualified people that we're excited for. And then with our other position, we had that one live for, I think 3 days before we stopped it because we were getting too many applications. That's for our office manager position. So,
wow.
yeah, I mean, we haven't really had too many problems with it, to be honest.
Okay, wow. You had too many applications. That's a good problem.
Yeah, it could be worse, right?
Yeah, it could be worse. So you hit on something you just said, network security. So during the pandemic, there's a lot of programs that rolled out to try to help companies kind of stay afloat. The PPP at the state level, and some other things, the economic injury disaster loans that state was putting out. But they did experience a lot of fraud, and you're hearing just every day still about cyber hacks and so forth. Would you say that network security is one of the prevalent things people are coming to you today, or is it some other services?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a big one. Security cameras and on-premise is another one. But yeah, network security I think is really important because, well, it always has been, but now that people have been reading about it so much in the news, and there are these really big hacks that are affecting all kinds of businesses across the country. It's just kind of becoming more prevalent. People are getting cybersecurity insurance and stuff like that now too, and a lot of those are going to, if not already, require that you have these things in place. Things like encryption and endpoint detection and response software, things that we do for our managed clients, all day, every day. But some, we've seen, 40 employee businesses that had nothing of that nature in place, which is just kind of crazy if you think about it. But and it really isn't it's really not these like massive enterprises that they're going after. They're going after the 5 to 100 employee because they probably have less security in place. So easier targets.
Great. Well, we at the SBDC, we have a focus on cybersecurity awareness too, as well. It's called,
yeah, I was looking at that on your Facebook page.
It's actually called, we call this show Small Business Big Moves. That program we have for that is called Small Business Big Threat. So if you ever go to our SBDC website and you want to learn about cybersecurity awareness, look for the Small Business Big Threat insignia there, and you'll be able to find more about that cybersecurity awareness. And we have some things you can do to kind of try to tighten your systems up here as well. So the pandemic, let me ask about that. So did it actually help increase your sales during the pandemic, or did you have a decrease like most other companies?
We eventually saw an increase. So towards the beginning, we started to see an increase, and then when the governor shut down all of the offices for a few weeks there, that got scary. And we kind of, for the most part, shut down. There's a couple things that we could do here and there, but nobody's working because some people were working from home, which was fine, and we could still remote in and support them that way. But all of our projects were on hold and stuff like that. I mean, doing security and working with networks and stuff, we kind of got the pass to continue to operate. But it was getting a little scary. We definitely slowed down for a while there, and then I would say probably for about a month, maybe a few weeks, and then it just sprang right back and just been getting busier ever since. So.
So, okay, so let's talk about your big moves, Small Business Big Moves. Let's talk about how you were able to grow from building computers out of your apartment. Now you're $1 million+ sales business. How did that happen? Was there one big leap you made to get to that point? And was it organic, kind of gradual? How have you gotten to that point?
Well, I don't know if there was. I guess there is probably some big things. It wasn't really like any like we didn't get like a huge client right off the bat or anything, and then it just kind of. I mean, there was a couple things like that, but I think the most important thing was kind of realizing that, word of mouth doesn't build companies. I mean, it helps, but there's only so many people that are gonna, go to bat for you, in that regard. But marketing is huge. And kind of like what Tim and Kelly were saying earlier, it's really important for us, and that's actually how we got into doing some of that stuff as well. We were doing it for ourselves, and people were saying, "Oh wow, we really love your website. Can you build one for us?" And, that sort of thing. But just learning marketing, learning sales. Working with the SBDC has been fantastic. David Beeson, I know Tim mentioned him earlier as well. He's been great to work with, helping us build processes and, just kind of working through some of the Focus 4 stuff, and working with him has just been amazing. I think that, getting organized as a business, there are a lot of things that I realized that I was trying to wear too many hats, and I can't be the CEO, the COO, the head engineer, the sales team, the marketing team. I can't do everything. So bringing on more people and building processes, and all those things have to happen, kind of in the right order, and just working really hard.
Right.
Even when you're watching TV or hanging out with friends and family, be on social media posting, or work those 80 hours a week for the first couple 3-4 years maybe, so then you can eventually have something that's fantastic, and then you'd be able to take some vacations.
I get it. So you mentioned the Focus 4 program that the SBDC has, and so did that process really help you kind of really define yourself operationally, to kind of get things in order? Was that the primary tool that you say you used to?
Yeah, so we kind of got started with it, and then we kind of stepped back a little bit and really looked at getting things organized and bringing on, some key team members in that regard. So we kind of we didn't go straight through the program like a lot of people do. We kind of got into it and then kind of sidestepped a little bit, and so it's been a little weird, but it's been really, really helpful overall.
Okay, great. Yeah, for those that want to know more about the Focus 4 program, you should contact the SBDC with the information we're going to give you at the end. It's similar to, I would say, the EOS program, if people are familiar with the EOS, but it's kind of our own version on steroids. So it can be taken all in once. You can do it all in once, so you can just take it segment by segment, but it will greatly help you improve your business operations if you're trying to grow your business. And I'm assuming you're watching this show because you're someone that's trying to grow your business, trying to get to that level like Justin and Tim and Kelly, and you're trying to figure out how to do it. And so these are some tips and some ways and things to do it. Get a hold of us if you want to know more about the Focus 4 program. Okay, great, Tim. Justin. So have you won any awards yet? Have you got anything big awards that you can talk about?
I wouldn't really consider them awards. Some best of mentions and stuff like that, from like independent review websites and stuff like that. But I wouldn't really call them rewards or awards, perhaps.
Just acknowledgments. I think you're on your way, though.
I hope so.
You're in the space, the IT space. You're in a very competitive space, and so to be in a competitive space like that, there's a lot of other IT firms out there. There's a lot of people that can do websites and things of that nature too, and to be successful,
I do think that we're the highest rated, at least on Google, in West Michigan. So
okay, great. Okay, so give our audience one last tip you want to give them to grow their business. If you had to give another company one thing you think they should do to help grow their company, what would that be?
Sales. Learn how to be a better salesperson, no matter what. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. Learn how to talk to people. Learn how to sell. Learn how to sell yourself. Even if you're not starting a business, learning how to be a better salesperson can get you that job that you've wanted. It can really get you into other places, and even help you make friends. So sales, it's important.
Fantastic advice, Justin. Is there anything else you want to share with our audience?
Not particularly. If anybody has any questions or anything, they can feel free to give us a call or hop on our website.
Okay, great. Well, we certainly appreciate you being here today. Like I say, you have a great growing company. It's not humongous, like Tim, like the other people, they have like 22 employees. You only got 8 right now. You're still hiring. You're still, doing good things with your sales. You're still growing. So it's a continual process. You'll never know. You reach one mark, but you're on the trajectory to do some other marks as well. So we congratulate you on that, and we thank you so much for being on the show today.
Not a problem. Thanks, Ed.
All right. Thanks, Justin. Great. We want to thank our 2 guests. Yeah, that was Justin Ayers. He's the president, once again, Grand Rapids Tech. Our first guest from Envision Help. We had Tim there. We had Kelly there. Tim Bush. Kelly Smith there was with us today. We'll make sure that you can get a hold of these folks if you want to after the show. But right now, we're going to take about a 30-second commercial break. When we come back, we're going to answer a few prepared questions, pressing questions that we often get at the SBDC. So stick around, 30 seconds. We'll be right back.
At the Michigan SBDC Network, our mission is simple: to help businesses grow and succeed. Our consulting, training, and information services make it easier for businesses to reach their potential. Whether you're currently in operation or just starting out, we have the right tools, resources, and expertise to help you succeed. Visit us online to get started on your path to success today.
and welcome back to Small Business Big Moves. We're going to our last segment of the hour, in which we call our answer desk. And to join us for the answer desk segment today is once again Marie Elliott, who's our senior business consultant, and Kathy Miller, which is our business growth specialist. So Marie's going to be asking the questions, and Kathy's going to be answering them. So that's not that's going to work. And so I don't know how many questions we'll be able to get through. We'll have a couple here. So I'm going to turn it over to both Marie and Kathy to answer a few questions for us today.
All right. Thanks, Ed. And wow,
Marie,
some
you
great
came with the best spot.
information. Yeah, great information. A lot of talk on, getting organized and, working on the business, not just in the business, and how important company culture is. I really liked Tim's comment that you can't fake your culture. At least not long term. So, Kathy, I think we got some really good questions here. We're going to start off with, I got them, I had to write them down for myself. So, what are the keys to successful business growth?
Well, I think it's been interesting that we've already been talking a little bit about our Focus 4 program, but it was built around those keys for successful business growth. Things that we've known over the years are what our small businesses have needed and used successfully to build their businesses. So the 4 things I would say are vision. You have to have a clear and compelling statement of who you are, why you're in business, what do you do or provide, where you want to be in the future, which is the when. And those things are your core focus, your core product, and an envisioned future. We cover these things in the Focus 4 program, or we can cover them individually for you. The second one, so vision is first, strategy is second. This is how you're going to achieve your vision. You need a structured plan to achieve that vision in terms of goals, people, customers, processes, cash flow. Develop clear and concise SMART goals and financial projections that will help you manage your progress, measure your progress. And you'll also talk about your ideal customer and a marketing strategy there. I think that we mentioned, Tim and Kelly do marketing, and then Justin also mentioned about how important marketing was. Then one of the things that usually leads to failure in strategic plans is what we have incorporated into the Focus 4 program for your success. That is execution. So you have your vision, you have a strategy, you need to execute that. So you have to have a strong accountability system and processes that are going to ensure the timely fulfillment of those goals that will successfully manage your growth. So this is how you will actually implement things. Finally, we talk about cash flow and finances. You got to have good accounting processes, good system, ensure forecasts to make sure that your business is profitable enough to grow. Know your numbers and track them closely for progress and accountability. And I think take note of the book that Mike Gay mentioned earlier, The E-Myth for CFO. Excellent book. I just finished reading that recently too, and it's great. So do consider our Focus 4 business system to help you achieve those goals. It's an operating system, no cost to you, that we can lead you through that and help you.
Great, Kathy. Yeah, it's great. It's great to hear too from some of the SBDC clients that have actually utilized our Focus 4 program and getting the value back out of that. So, yeah. So for sake of time, I'm going to keep it moving. We got a couple more questions here. What are your top 3 tips for attracting and retaining good talent? I know that Justin indicated that, he's really not having any issues. It doesn't sound like in necessarily recruiting his talent. He's getting a significant number of applicants. However, that could be the case for you, but there's that retention side of it too. So what would you say are your top 3 tips for that attracting or recruiting and then retaining the good talent?
Good. That is a question that I get often. I specialize in human resources and organization development. So I'm always answering HR questions and doing a lot with talent, attracting, retaining, and developing talent. So great question, Marie. And like Justin said, I do find a lot of people who are getting lots of people applying, but then they're not getting as many to actually take the job because the competition is so fierce. That they'll apply, they'll interview them, but they're just not fast enough to grab them up. So the 3 things that I mentioned is, number 1, have a solid job description. Make sure it fits a business need. Make sure you know why that job is important to helping the business succeed, because then you'll likely be able to tie a measure to it. So fit it to a business need, make it clear, concise, and compliant. And we have templates that I can send you and help you work through to develop those types of job descriptions if you need that assistance from us. Number 2, have a compelling job posting. We're back to the marketing stuff. It's not just saying, here's a job. Do you want it? Call me. You need to reach out to them just like you are reaching out to your customers. You've got to sell yourself, your culture, and your business and your benefits to candidates. That's what they're looking for when they're shopping for a job. So you've got to see that connection, that it's not just posting and waiting anymore. It's really pulling them in. So write a candidate-focused job posting. Emphasize those key responsibilities and qualifications, as well as your benefits, tangible benefits, intangible benefits. So health insurance, those types of things, or something that may be flexible scheduling that's intangible. Post on sites that cater to the people that you are trying to attract. If you're looking for engineers, post on engineering sites, post at colleges. Indeed, LinkedIn, social media, college campuses are great places, and trade associations. Number 3, have a consistent hiring process. Ensure that you give equal opportunity for each candidate to shine. Be aware of what you can and can't ask, and cover all forms and communications. And then actually, I've got four answers here because I've got to add in. Have an engaging orientation program. It doesn't just stop when they're hired. You've got to bring them on, welcome them to your company, make them feel right away that they did indeed make the right decision by deciding to work for you. So you've got to give them a good welcome, tour the office, meet the key employees, have the proper technology and information for them, and they can ask questions. So be aware, most new hires know within a few weeks whether or not they're going to stay with you. So that is important.
Love it. Thanks, Kathy. Yeah. So I have a background HR and finance. So I like the numbers, but I also have the HR side of it. So it's more than just the wage when you're talking about retention,
Right.
you know, like Kathy was saying, really look at, do you have a flexible schedule? What are some of those other things that are going to keep that good talent working for you? And the culture is so important. So we have time for one last question. I actually had 2, but I think we're only going to get to 1. We'll see where we're at with time with this, but the next question, Kathy, is how can small business owners build a strong people function?
And when we're answering that, I think we're all actually going to answer in a way your last question, which I think you had something that was related to culture, and some of our guests today talked about culture too. So that's very important. But how to build a strong people function? You have to focus on purpose, values, accountability, and development. These are all part of a good company culture. Find out what your candidates' employees want. Do your best to provide it. And make sure people feel involved, appreciated, and capable of success. And I would consider our SBDC Human Resources Assessment. It's a free questionnaire online. Take you about 15 minutes. It can help us evaluate your HR function, your compliance and effectiveness in hiring, compensation, benefits, training and development, and org development. And that, again, is also no cost to you. But I help a lot of people work through that to build their strong functions there.
Thank you, Kathy. And we are out of time. I really appreciate you taking time out of your afternoon today to be part of our Answer Desk. It's been a great session. So Ed, back to you at this time.
Yep. Thanks, Marie.
Great. Thanks, Kathy. Thanks, Marie, for answering a few questions for us. If you want a question to be considered for the show, feel free to send it in. Our website address will be at the end of the show credits. So feel free to send your questions in. You may be selected for a future show for your question to be read and answered. We certainly like to thank all our guests today that joined us from Envision Health, from Grand Rapids Tech. I want to thank the team today, Mike Gay, Kathy Miller, Marie Elliott, Lady Q. All of us have put this together. I think it was a great show on that. Feel free to reach out to us, the SBDC, if we think you need any help. You'll see that at the end of the show as well. And just remember, we know prices are going up, like Mike said. We know inflation, interest rates are going up. We know there's labor shortage. We know there's supply chain issues. But in the midst of all that, companies are still growing and getting stronger. So we at the SBDC are here to help you on that trajectory. I had Mike and I had Kathy here today because they're on our growth team and they can work with you as you build your business over that $1 million mark. And we have our regional teams like Marie that can help you before you get to that point even. So engage us. Our services are free. We thank you for joining today, and we look forward to seeing you in our next episode, which will air in September, because this is a quarterly program. And so till next time, I guess your break is over. Thank you.